On today's Community Wednesday, let's break down the SPR 208. For those of you who weren't around, when the SPR first came out, you could turn it into a hit scan weapon. Literally. You pointed at something, you clicked, instant hit. Even after it got nerfed though, it was still popular due to it being a good middle ground between something like the HDR and the Kar98. But then as soon as the Cold War weapons came around, we kinda forgot about it pretty quick. In this video, I'll be answering the question of whether or not we should keep ignoring it, or whether we should bring it back. In the build, we're using the monolithic suppressor, the SPR 26-inch barrel, tac laser, Solo Zero SPR 28mm scope, and the 300 normal mags. So let's get into the stats, starting with mobility. It has an ADS time of 480 milliseconds, which is a little slow for a quicker sniper rifle, but still faster than something like the HDR. Its reload and reload add times are 3.44 and 2.73 seconds, which is actually pretty decent. And like most other sniper rifles, it has a mag cap of 5. Its movement and sprint speeds are above average, which is kinda surprising for a Modern Warfare sniper rifle. It's still not as good as a Cold War weapon, but if you need to sprint from cover to cover, it might be okay. But its ADS strafe speed is kinda low, but at least it's in line with the Kar98. For some reason, the sprint out and tac sprint at times are pretty decent, but we don't really need this on a sniper rifle. And its stability is 1.75 T, so you should definitely hold your breath when using it. Its bullet velocity is 1,176.5 meters per second, which is better than the quicker sniper rifles, but still slower than the long-range ones. And lastly, its rate of fire is 48 rounds per minute, which is the quickest out of all the relevant sniper rifles. So it gets a mobility score of 27. The SPR suffers from the same recoil that the AX50 and the HDR have, and when it's coupled with its aiming stability, it's not as perfect as the others. So it gets a recoil score of 30.15. For its damage, it has a drop-off at 35 meters, which is extremely short, but if you play this the way it's meant to be played, you'll be okay. In both damage ranges, you can one-shot someone in the head, obviously, and you can hit them twice in the upper torso and down them as well. And for both lower torso and limb, it takes 3. However, in the first damage range, if you hit one upper torso shot and one shot anywhere else, you can get a 2-shot kill. In the second damage range, as soon as you hit a limb shot, you will not be getting that 2-shot kill. So it gets a damage score of 40, and when we add up all the categories, we get a final score of 97.15. This means the SPR is a pretty decent sniper rifle, since it is 1 point away from bumping itself into the next weapon tier category. But how does it compare against the Kar98 and the Swiss K31? Basically, the SPR is better than the Kar98 in every way except for its ADS time. So if you weren't that aggressive and didn't need to quickscope people, the SPR would definitely be a better choice. However, the Swiss K31 exists. And I've said it before, but the Swiss is the best aggressive sniper rifle in the game. Those 10 extra milliseconds of ADS time are not worth all the downsides that come with the Kar98. So when compared to the SPR, the Swiss does have worse TTK in its limb. The Swiss can always get a 2-shot kill if you hit an upper torso shot, unlike the SPR. And because of its lower rate of fire, if you do need a 2-shot kill, it is a little bit slower. However, it has a much better ADS time and better stats basically everywhere else too. The only thing that the SPR beats the Swiss in is its sprint out time, and we all know how useful that is in sniper rifles. And technically the reload and reload add times are slightly better, but that's because we're using a 7-round mag on the Swiss, not a 5. Another thing to consider is the scope zoom. The SPR only gives you a 3.79 times ADS zoom compared to a 5.18 times ADS zoom on the Swiss. So even though the Swiss has 120 meters per second less bullet velocity, its higher zoom makes it easier to use at longer ranges. Due to the ADS time, recoil, damage, and aiming stability, I can't really recommend the SPR for an aggressive or a long-range player. If it automatically recentered after every shot and had better aiming stability, I could actually see an argument for it. And if they brought its ADS time from 480 to 450, I could actually see it playing a decent middle role. But in the state that it is right now, it's just really difficult to recommend. And the reason I didn't put the variable zoom scope on here is because now your ADS time would be as bad as the ZRGs. And at that point, there would be no reason to pick the SPR over the best long-range sniper in the game. If you're skilled enough, you can definitely use it. Just know you'll probably be losing some fights to Kar98s, Swiss K31s, and ZRGs. So that's the SPR. Have you used it recently, and if so, what'd you think about it? And as always, if there's any build, weapon, or part of the game you want to break down, let me know and you may see it on the next Community Wednesday. But that's the video. If you enjoyed or if it's helped you in any way, let me know by leaving a like. If you got any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section down below. And if you want to make sure that you never miss another video, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.